So how did I get here? It started way back at conception with parents who defy convention and social norms. Unless, of course, they make sense. My father might be considered weird. No television was allowed at home when I was growing up. And in the 70s, everyone thought he was crazy when he volunteered hundreds of hours of free time as an activist for smoke-free air in public places. Back then, he was pretty much alone in his beliefs about the effects of secondhand smoke. But he had lost his mother and father to lung cancer, even though only his father smoked. So he put two and two together and figured his mother must have gotten it secondhand. And he's a health nut. No sugar was allowed at home. He even lobbied successfully for a candy-free checkout lane in our local grocery. These days, my father doesn't own a car, mostly for environmental reasons. He bikes everywhere, and at age 73, he's in excellent shape. And finally, he's considered cool. You might think my mother's weird too. She went for natural childbirth and was completely comfortable nursing us in public. Even now, she can't be bothered with concerns about what people think of her. Growing up with non-conventional parents wasn't always easy, but I'm grateful now that they showed me just because everyone else is doing something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. I believe my parents helped make me a curious and inquisitive person. As long as I can remember, I've been a researcher and a writer, and food has always been of special interest to me. I've been a vegetarian for 33 years, since I was 14 years old. And that's with an O-negative blood type that's supposed to require flesh as food. My motivation to go veg was not health. It was simply the gross out factor of eating dead animals. I was thrilled the moment I learned I didn't need to eat animals to survive. The only problem was I didn't know a single other vegetarian. I felt pretty alone, and I hoped nobody would notice I wasn't eating meat. I just wanted to be accepted. My diet was reasonably good, but not optimal. I was actually a junk food vegetarian, and there was definitely room for improvement. Back in 2005, I got inspired to dig more deeply into health. I had seen Morgan Spurlock's eye-opening film Supersize Me, where he used himself as a guinea pig to see what would happen if he consumed only fast food for 30 days. As you may have seen, the results were devastating to his health. I thought Spurlock's film begged the question what the other end of the food spectrum would look like. So I got the inspiration to subject myself to a 30-day experiment consuming only raw, vegan, organic, plant-based foods. And I documented it in my film, Supercharge Me, 30 Days Raw. It was not an easy transition, but the results were miraculous. Chronic aches and pains from injuries disappeared in the first week. Turns out my former diet included inflammatory foods. In addition, I dropped weight, my vision improved, my sleep improved, I had better mental clarity and better energy and emotional peace. And best of all, my spiritual connection became much stronger. It truly was miraculous for me, and I wondered why everyone didn't know about this. Somehow, we've convinced ourselves that we're the most intelligent species on Earth. Why then are we the only species that doesn't follow our natural instincts? And why are we the only species perpetually confused by what we're eating and led simultaneously in opposite directions based on commissioned studies? Why do we even require studies to tell us what to eat in the first place? Can you imagine a conversation between two squirrels? One says to the other, "Did you see the latest research? Turns out nuts are fattening." Every other species, except our domesticated pets, eats what we're designed to eat and eats it raw without any stress about the latest research. So for starters, what are humans designed to eat? Dr. Milton Mills, MD, created this comparative anatomy graph of humans, herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. If we were designed to eat animals, we would have sharp teeth like carnivores and omnivores, and we'd have strong, sharp claws. Ladies, how easy is it to break a nail? And we'd have a different type of saliva and a different digestive system, and we'd have the instincts for it. Which reaction would you expect of a 5-year-old girl getting a cute little bunny in her Easter basket? Would she be overcome with joy and want to cuddle that bunny? Or would she proceed to tear it to pieces by any means necessary and begin eating it? Can you imagine your horror? If you and she were designed to eat bunnies, you'd be proud of her animal instincts, not rushing to make an emergency call to a psychiatrist. So why did we start eating animals in the first place? Was it because of the elimination of plant foods after the Great Flood documented in the Bible? Who knows? And why did we start nursing from cows? Who knows? It does seem bizarre. It does seem bizarre to nurse all of our lives from a completely different species. Native Americans didn't do it, and apparently were shocked to see the European settlers milking their cows and in fact owning them as property. We certainly have plenty of other options these days. So what are the health consequences of our animal consumption behavior? According to T. Colin Campbell, who conducted the largest multi-generational nutrition research project in history, people with traditionally vegan diets had virtually no cancer or heart disease, and those with diets including meat and dairy did. He found that casein, the main protein in dairy, is the most potent carcinogen to which human beings are routinely exposed. Dr. Terry Mason, former national chairman of urology at the National Medical Association and former commissioner of health for the city of Chicago, said erectile dysfunction is an early warning sign for heart disease. He calls it the canary in the coal mine. Turns out it's all about blood flow. The arteries to the penis are smaller than the arteries to the heart, and so they get clogged first. Animal foods clog the arteries. Dr. Mason advises his patients to go vegan for their health and for their sex life. Well, hello. Who needs drugs? And what about the consequences to humanity in general? 950 million people in the world are starving to death. Why is that? We're growing enough food to feed more than twice the population of all the human beings in the world. But in the US, 80% of the crops are grown for and fed to livestock who will be slaughtered for meat. Could our world be a more peaceful place? Dr. Will Tuttle, who happens to be with us here today in the audience, is the author of the World Peace Diet, and he said the driving force behind war is inequality. What if everyone had enough food? And what are the consequences to our environment? According to a World Bank study, 52% of the climate problem is caused by animal agriculture. Dr. John McDougall said it takes 17 organic vegans to do the environmental damage of one person on the standard American diet. And vegans use just 1/30 of the water that flesh eaters do, according to a United Nations study. We're cutting down our magnificent rainforest at the rate of 1 acre per second for soybeans to feed cattle, chickens, pigs, and fish. And what about the animals? We're decimating the oceans by overfishing. Marine biologists fear our oceans are in collapse. Talk about an inconvenient truth. We're killing 75 million land and water animals in the US each day and losing dozens of species entirely every day worldwide. We're currently in the middle of the largest mass extinction of species in 60 million years. We have a lot of eyes on us. And the work of turning animals into food is no fun. Slaughterhouse workers have the highest rate of suicide of any occupation. It's no wonder. They're working in hell on earth. According to Mercy for Animals, slaughterhouses, factory farms, and dairies have been found guilty of egregious cruelty every time anyone has investigated them. That environment apparently brings out the worst in people. Some say we can farm animals sustainably. No, we can't. You might find a few examples of farmers with what appear to be closed-loop systems, but how much wildlife around them has to be killed in order to maintain those farms? And it's a slippery slope right back to where we are, because with the land we have available, we simply cannot feed our population on an animal-based diet. Nature is abundant. So why do we continue to eat animals when there's an abundance of plant foods available to us? There are many reasons. We've been told all our lives that eating animal foods is natural by advertising, parents, and teachers. Billions of dollars are spent every year on television ads promoting unhealthy food, and zero is spent promoting the consumption of fruits and vegetables. That's why I'm here. And we're creatures of habit. It's not easy to change our eating habits. Margaret Mead said it's easier to change a man's religion than his diet. And that goes for women too. There's the emotional comfort, and there's an addictive component. For instance, the casomorphine in dairy, which I was hooked on for decades. Whenever I needed to numb out, I would go in search of cheese. I get it. We live in a highly stressful culture. Most of us are overworked without enough time for ourselves or for our families. It wasn't always like this. Historically, we all come from cultures of villages and tribes where there was much more human interaction and support. Food has become our small comfort, and when it's fast, it's easy, too easy. Some people believe you can't be strong and athletic on a plant-based diet. Not true. Some of the top athletes in the world today are plant strong. Some people say the vegan lifestyle doesn't work for their bodies. Have they really tried all 20,000 plant foods before giving up? Did you know there are 7,500 varieties of apple? It's not easy to overcome social conventions, but we must have the courage to think for ourselves instead of allowing financially motivated entities to guide our choices. You have something very special to contribute to the world, and if you spend your precious time and energy trying to fit in, it will be such a loss to all of us. Remember, once upon a time, slavery was normal, and it was commonly believed that the earth was flat. And once upon a time, it was normal to smoke in airplanes and restaurants and college classrooms. Thank you for taking that one on, Dad. Let's face it, normal sucks. Come on, let's get weird together, and someday I promise we won't be so weird anymore. Let's do a brief cost-benefit analysis for adopting a more plant-based lifestyle. The cost is that you may have to make some changes, and it may not be easy at first. The benefits are you'll be more healthy, you'll be more beautiful because the chlorophyll from plant foods make you glow from the inside out. You'll be more kind to humanity, more kind to the animals, more kind to the planet, and you'll be an inspiration to others, helping to make our world a better place. So how do we get more beneficial plant life into our lives? Let's start with baby steps. How about learning a couple easy and delicious vegan recipes with foods you love? You'll be surprised how enjoyable and satisfying plant foods are. They're more satisfying because they're more nutrient dense. I don't have time to get into recipes here, but you can find my raw and vegan recipes on YouTube. Or if you're really not into spending time in the kitchen, that's okay. Plenty of plant foods are perfect just as they are. How about grabbing an organic apple or a banana or an orange on your way out the door? Even a cucumber is easy to eat on the run. Hydrating too, just wash it and bite into it as it is. That's what I call fast food. Salad is easy, and leafy greens are so beneficial. We should really be eating them every day. If you don't have the time for a salad, throw some greens in the blender with your favorite fruit and you'll have a delicious, nutritious, and satisfying green smoothie. Or make a savory blended green soup. How about starting to grow some of your own food? It's easy to start with herbs and sprouts, and it's so rewarding. Before you know it, your neighbors will be growing too, and there will be lots of great food to share. It's a wonderful way to build community, perhaps even your own little village. How about enrolling a friend or a family member in a 30-day health challenge with you? Who doesn't want to be healthier? It's great to have support, and you'll be reaping the benefits together. Most importantly, know that you deserve to live a happy and healthy life, and every bite you take is a choice to honor this time you have on earth. And how magnificent that by honoring yourself, you're also honoring all of humanity, this planet we share, and the animal kingdom too. Do you believe where your food comes from might affect your quality of life? I sure do. So I'll be enjoying my food from heaven on earth. And I brought apples to share.